Hi, I'm Brett Cameron from Cameron Hypnotics in Newcastle, Australia. This is another metaphor in my series of metaphors for hypnotherapists. And the metaphor I'm about to share with you is one of my favorites, which I tend to use quite often in a first session, the initial session with a client who is wanting to shift stuff. Now, whatever that stuff is, it really doesn't matter. And it's a library metaphor, which is a book burning metaphor, which is a very common one, but this is my take on it. And then I'll lead into the control room. So let's assume we've already done the induction. The client is now in trance. So this can be either a direct hypnosis or an indirect, however you want to word it. So it goes something like this. Imagine you are walking down a hallway. There are doors to the left and doors to the right. And there is light coming under one particular door on the left, and you choose to go into that room. And you find you've walked into this library. There are books everywhere. There's a honey-colored light coming through the windows like the rays of a setting sun. And you feel so welcome in that library. Now, the books on the right, they represent all the positive things from your life, and they're all in order of descending years. While the books on the left represent the negative things from this life, and they're also in order of descending years. But there is one particular book that I want you to find. And that book is going to hide from you. But I know you'll find it, trusting that resourceful unconscious mind of yours to guide you. And that book is titled, The Things That Have Held Me Back in Life. And the subtitle, Habits, Patterns, and Behaviours That I'd Rather Not Have. So therefore, this book represents the problem, whatever that problem is. So I want you to find that book. And I'll be setting up an ideomotor response. So when you know that you have that book, or you know where that book is in the library of your mind, if you could let me know just by raising a finger on your yes hand. Great, you're doing so well. Now that book, I don't know if that book is large or small, heavy or light. I don't know what color it is, but I know that that book must feel like a burden at times, that's weighing you down from your right to be free. I don't want you to hold this book for too much longer. You've held it long enough. Noticing another door at the back of the library, a dark door, and you carry this book through that doorway into another room. There's not much in that room, except for an incinerator in the far corner. And there's a fire inside it. You can feel the warmth coming from the fire. And you're holding this book. Now, whether you choose to rip the pages out or to throw the whole book in the fire, it really doesn't matter. Because this is your opportunity now to get rid of it. And if you haven't done so already, do it now. Get rid of it. Because we're going to burn it out of your life forever. And you can feel the warmth increasing from that fire. You can hear the flames licking the pages, burning, reducing them to ashes. And I wonder if you're aware of something else. As if you're standing taller, your back is straight, your shoulders are strong, there's a lightness in your chest, a fog is lifted from your mind. Your thoughts are clear and positive. And when you know at every level that that book has been reduced to ashes, and you will know, you find yourself just taking a big deep breath and letting out a sigh. That's right. And then turning on your heels, walking out of that room. You've got a real spring in your step now. You feel good, you feel light, you feel empowered. And you step through the doorway back into the library. And when you close the door, you've closed behind a memory of what was once a problem, but is now no more. It's gone, it's in the past. So you're back in the library. And you walk over to the books that are on the right-hand side when you came in. The books that contain the good things from this life. And you've just realized those books don't end at insert year here. So therefore, those books don't end at 2021. They go all the way into the future. Pause. I calculate the client's age, and then we start to work into the future. Let's say the client has just turned 30. So those books go all the way through the 20s, into the 30s, into the 40s, into the 50s, into the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, beyond. I wonder if you could take a book from the future, let's say 2 years from now, 2023, and be so pleasantly surprised at what you find. The first photo that you see is a photo of you 2 years from now. How good do you look? You look amazing. You look so healthy, so happy, so calm, so confident. You're free of the problem. You haven't had a smoke in 2 years, or you've lost 20 kilos of weight, or you haven't had anxiety for 2 years, and whatever it is, the problem, it's gone. You feel so empowered. And you know you can put the book back on the shelf and you can come back to this library anytime you choose. And with new confidence, you step out of that room, back into the hallway. You walk down the hall. There's light coming under another door on the left, and you choose to go into that room. And this is a room that contains dials and switches and big round knobs and test tubes and taps. It's like a science lab from some sci-fi movie. You've just realized you've just stepped into the control room of your mind. And what a privilege it is for you to be in the control room of your mind. This is where you can make the changes that only you can make. And the first control I want you to find. Now, this is where I like to be creative. So let's say someone's seeing me for anxiety. So I want you to find a control with a big letter A on it. And when you can imagine that in your mind, either visualize it or you can feel it, you can sense it. And you can imagine a control with the letter A. If you could just raise a finger with that yes hand. Great. Now have a look how high it is. I want you to turn it backwards in an anti-clockwise direction and turn it all the way down and then turn it off. And noticing what's happening now. And also noticing that that label is curling up on the edges. So you peel the label off, you roll it up in a ball and you toss it away, which reveals another A label underneath, which is A for abundance. Abundant love, abundant health, abundant happiness, abundant joy, pure abundance. So turn it back on, turn it up, set it to where you want this to be. There might be control there with the letter C, which is C for calm, cool, confidence. And if that's too low, turn it up, lock it in. And right next to that is a control D for drive, discipline, determination. Do the same, move it to where you want that to be. Is there a control letter E for energy? Might even have to turn it on. Do that. And what about those 3 test tubes over there in the corner, marked hormones? One of them looks empty. Another is half full. And I don't know what's in the third one. But trusting your unconscious mind, take those test tubes to the taps, filling them with the correct hormones to the right level, and being aware of a wonderful warm glow within you as your whole endocrine gland system is now in the flow of balance and harmony. Is there a control there with the letter S for stress? Does that look pretty high? So why don't you turn it down? Turn it down. And right next to that is another control with the letter S, which is S for strength, physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength. This is your control room. Balance it, program it, do whatever you need to do. Now, I'm just going to be quiet for a few moments to allow you to cast your eye over the rest of the room, to make whatever changes you want to make. Be creative. There might be controls for resilience, for self-love, for inner peace, inner health, compassion, kindness, and that's being kind to you. So I'm just going to be quiet now where you can explore and you can put whatever controls in there that you want. And when you are ready to move on, you can let me know by raising that yes finger again. Time ticks away. Great, you're doing so well. Also noticing there is a set of stairs that leads up to the mezzanine level, which is the upper control room of your mind. So take those stairs. When you get to the top, there's a table with 5 people sitting around it. There's your head electrician, your head chemist, your immune system manager, the maintenance manager, and your IT manager. And these 5 people are surveying 2 sets of blueprints. There's a blueprint of you from now and one from birth that doesn't have the defects of life. Can you imagine looking at 2 sets of blueprints, one from now, one from birth? There would be a few differences. And you ask the head electrician to reconnect any cells, any neurological pathways that no longer work or have been blocked. Get them to create a new set of neurological pathways. Steal protein from an old unwanted neurological pathway. Send that to create a new positive neurological pathway. Neurons firing across synapses, creating new positive, resourceful pathways. Ask your head chemist to begin making and delivering the exact chemicals to produce a perfectly balanced emotional state. Your immune system manager can activate the lymphatic system to flush out all the old blood and debris, while the maintenance manager will supervise all of this to make sure that everything is sanitized, everything is healing, everything's working exactly as it was planned to be. But before we leave, I want you to speak to your IT manager and ask your IT manager to give you a software upgrade so that tonight when you sleep, your head hits the pillow, you drift into a beautiful deep sleep. And in the morning, you'll awaken to the new Brett Cameron 2.1 version. Well, don't use my name, but hopefully the client's. You've had a software upgrade. All the old bugs and glitches have been disconnected. They're in the past now. You're now firing on this new positive, reconditioned you. And when you know the work is done, you come back down the stairs and we're looking for one last control before we leave that room. It's got a big letter P on it, which is P for personal power. And I want you to crank that up to a comfortable 10, lock it in. It becomes the master control for all of those other controls. You got rid of the anxiety, replaced that with abundance. You've turned up the calm, cool confidence, the discipline, drive, determination. You've adjusted the hormones, plus all of those other changes that you've made. You've locked them all in. And then your turn to step out of that room. And then we continue by weaving in whatever other stories or metaphors or whatever work you want to be doing. Now, I find that combination of the library and the control room, that they just fit so perfectly for a first session with a client. And, it doesn't matter what they're coming to see you for. Use your own words, use your own expressions, your own mannerisms, but integrate whatever the problem is and let the client do the work. Let the client work out how they are going to get rid of the problem. And for those people it's amazing how many hypnos I talk to who are stuck, as in people who are new or students and wondering, how do I structure this? Well, yes, I like to work on the premise that I have no idea what the client is going to bring in, but I do like to have some structure that I can work within. And I just find that works perfectly, because while you're listening to the client at the start, where they're giving you all the information, it then allows you to offer something which invites their creative, resourceful, unconscious mind to go on a journey with you. So I hope this has been really beneficial. And I look forward to adding to this. I'll be bringing more metaphors and helping hypnos around the world just to explore what we can do in a better way. So I'm Brett Cameron from Cameron Hypnotics in Newcastle, Australia. And if you like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I can share many more with you. Okay, all the best. See you.